You ever have one of those moments where your life splits in two, like there's the world you thought you lived in, and then there's the one you wake up in after, say, a neighbor throws a rock through your front window because you changed your Wi-Fi password? Yeah, I know how it sounds. If someone told me this story a year ago, I'd say they'd watched too many late-night thrillers, or maybe sniffed a little too much window cleaner. But here's the truth. This story isn't about bad internet or even about crazy neighbors, not really. It's about the day we found out the darkness living next door and how one stupid tech fix blew the lid off something so ugly we'll never be the same. See, we moved to this suburb like everyone else looking for peace. Good schools, clean streets, the drill. On the outside, it was perfect. Lawns measured like green velvet. Every house nearly identical. Even the dogs seemed to know the rules. Keep it down, keep it moving, don't ruffle feathers. I'd wanted my son Henry to have a shot at normal, though, if I'm honest. His idea of normal was head down in code-building games I couldn't pronounce, let alone understand. He's a quiet kid, sharp as a tack, lived online where things made sense to him. The only thing that didn't work in our little slice of paradise, the Wi-Fi. Every day, the same routine buffering lag, dropped calls. Henry, stomping away from his computer, muttering about packet loss and bandwidth leeches. At first, it felt like a punchline. First world problems, right? But when your job's remote and your kid's entire world is digital, bad Wi-Fi turns the American dream into a migraine. So we did everything. New plan, new provider, some monstrosity of a router that looked like it belonged at NASA. Still nothing. Tex came, poked around, shrugged. But Henry, stubborn as a mule, decided to dig deeper. One night he's hunched over his laptop, backlit by that ghostly glow, and he says, "Mom, someone's on our network." I thought maybe he meant a neighbor grabbing a movie or two. But he pulls up a list of devices, names we'd never seen, Android's laptops, not ours. "It's coming from next door," he says, and he's got that look, the one he gets when he's cracked a code. That was the beige house, the one with the overgrown roses, and the neighbor who'd barely grunted when we brought over a welcome basket. Once she glanced at our router and joked, "Must be nice, good internet," but I figured she was just awkward not casing the place. Turns out our rookie move was using our dog's name backwards for the password. For months, her family kids glued to their phones, always lurking outside, had been siphoning our bandwidth like it was a free buffet. When Henry found out, he didn't just change the password, he built a digital fortress. New SSID MAC address, filters, you name it. I felt this surge of pride, like we'd finally beat the system. If only I'd known. The next day, internet's blazing fast. Henry's laughing for the first time in ages, and I'm feeling smug until I spot the neighbor's kids outside, faces twisted, phones rebooting like they'd lost a limb. Then the mom herself storms up, fixes me with this stare that could slice stone. I shrugged it off. What was she going to do? File a complaint that she couldn't steal from us anymore? God, I was so naive. God, I was so... Day after, I'm in the kitchen washing up when I hear this scream, a raw animal howl that shatters the whole Stepford vibe of our block. I look outside, and there she is. Wild hair yoga pants, stained, holding her phone, and some beat-up old router over her head like she'd just won a trophy. "You monsters!" she shrieks. "My kids need internet." "How dare you!" I can barely react before she grabs a rock and hurls it straight through our front window, glass everywhere. My son, white as a ghost, just stares. I dial 911, hands shaking. The cops show up nearly an hour later. Two guys who look like this isn't even in their top 10 for weirdest neighbor calls. I tell them what happened, show them the rock, the broken window. They barely take notes, and one of them says, almost like a joke, "Well, ma'am, sometimes changing your Wi-Fi password brings out the worst." Henry tries to explain about the stealing the logs, but they just shake their heads. "Hard to prove, son." Meanwhile, next door, she's pouring on the tears, telling the officers were harassing her that Henry's a hacker stalking her kids. By the time the cops leave, I feel like we're the ones on trial. That night, Henry's not gaming, he's at his laptop furious. She lied, and they believed her. He won't let it go. Mom, her reaction, it's not about free Wi-Fi. He keeps digging, poring through network logs, chasing patterns I can't follow, until suddenly he freezes. He finds something encrypted data streaming all over, bouncing through servers in Russia, Asia, masked by proxies. Mom, this isn't just streaming, he says. It's relaying, like someone's using our network to move something big, something illegal. He stays up all night combing through terabytes. And then he finds a fragment, a blurry picture, a kid's bedroom cartoon wallpaper, a little girl crying on a bed. His face strains. That's their daughter, he whispers. My heart stops. This isn't about Wi-Fi or vandalism anymore. It's something so dark I can barely say it. Someone was using our internet to traffic child exploitation content. My stomach turns. We grab every log, every file, and go straight to the county's Special Victims Unit. This detective, Jacobson, calm-focused, gets it instantly. He sees the logs, the image, and within an hour, we're part of a federal investigation. Turns out our neighbor wasn't just freeloading, she was a pawn in a much bigger game, one with handlers, servers, dark web markets. The FBI sets up in our living room. My son becomes their secret weapon, tracing digital trails. Suddenly, our house is command central for a sting project, Shatterglass, they call it. Raids all over, servers seized, arrests made on 3 continents. But the network doesn't go quietly. There's blowback. Threats in the mail, a dead bird on the porch, ugly rumors online. The worst, some hotshot lawyer for the bad guys gets a prosecutor to leak a story framing Henry as the hacker, the ringleader. The school suspends him, friends ghost him, neighbors whisper. I watch my son so tough before start to collapse under the weight, but he doesn't give in. Instead, he works with the FBI to turn the tables, feeds false info through the leak in the prosecutor's office, lures the real boss, a tech mogul in Miami, into a trap. The whole network, thinking they're making a clean getaway, uploads their files onto a decoy server set up by Henry and the feds. Boom, evidence, confessions, everything. When the dust settles, our neighbor, her handlers, and the Miami puppet master are all hauled off in cuffs, facing sentences that'll outlive them. The trial is brutal. Defense tries to paint my son as some cyber vigilante, a liar, a mastermind. But the evidence is ironclad, and when the jury comes back guilty, it feels like I can breathe again for the first time in months. Headlines call Henry a hero, a prodigy, but honestly, he just wants out. Turns down scholarships, disappears into the woods, trying to find something like peace. Me, I volunteer for child protection. Now, can't look at picket fences the same way. We moved back in neighbor's house, sold to a family with little kids and too many dreams for one block. And you know we're safe, but we're never really at ease. So let me ask you, if it was you, would you have kept digging? Would you risk your peace, your family, to do what's right? Or would you have looked away? Tell me down below. Maybe if enough of us shine a light, we can make sure this kind of evil never hides behind another white picket fence again.